second. First of all, the board didn't boo anybody that came up here and talked, so just out of respect to the people that, I mean, the board does have a various number of opinions. I would just ask that you respect those, maybe, because I don't want to be booed. You know, it's interesting. The president and CEO from National Fuel sent a letter to the board today, actually to the supervisor and copied the board. And one of the things that he said, I suspect that the board's actions on this item are largely symbolic. If in fact that's the case, I'm actually okay with that. The issue isn't so much whether there is fracking going on in the town of Amherst, whether it's municipal use or not municipal use, because as we all know, somebody can always go and try to get a variance to do something that we may not want them to do. And the issue of whether we can process this type of waste at the treatment plant today isn't necessarily an issue because we don't know what the treatment plant is going to process 10 years from now. The issue of, you know, brine, whether it's toxic or anything, the letter from National Fuel I find interesting because it was 3 pages. Three full pages of, you know, misinformation is being publicly discussed. Case in point, our own subsidiary has a 0 liquid discharge policy, but then they say if the fluid is not recycled, it is either evaporated or disposed of approved deep well disposal wells. So there must be some sort of liquid that's either discharged or it's there. So it's got to go somewhere, and they're saying they're either charging it, I think, in the ground or it's being evaporated. They also talk about the fact that, again, this is, you know, a symbolic thing and that misinformation about what's contained in these byproducts, but nowhere in the 3 pages does it talk about what is used in the process. Now, I've heard many speakers come up and say that it's proprietary of what's used in the hydraulic fracking. My concern is, I mean, I have a concern in Amherst. I also have a concern because I own property out in the country where I do have a well that's on water. And there's proprietary applications in everything. I mean, somebody files a patent and it's a certain combination of things to create this product and it's proprietary for them. But I can't believe that they can't list what the ingredients are and not list what the percentages of each of those ingredients are. So at least you know what is being injected into the ground, what is being injected into, could be the water table, and what's being injected that could rise to the surface where your kids or grandkids play. So the issue today is fracking being done in Amherst, is the possibility in Amherst. Quite frankly, I don't know, but if there's potential for it to be transported through Amherst, if there's potential for it to be processed in Amherst, if there's a potential for it to be spread on the roads, and if this effort by this board is symbolic, and it has the governor and the state sit up and take attention to, we should know what's going into the ground, we should know what's in what toxins are being used, then fine, I'm fine with that symbolism. And if it takes other areas that depend upon the drinking water out of the ground and not processed through a treatment plant, to say, you know what, maybe we should take a look at this too, and we want to know what potentially could go in our ground, and that symbolism in Amherst made us take a look at it, then I'm fine with that too. So I plan on supporting the supervisor. Where Mark's resolution does have some, a couple of issues, my goal on that is to actually refer that to the town attorney's office, to engineering, and to planning so that those issues that are presented in that could become part of the local law. Just one last comment. You know, we've done resolutions over the course of the year. I think the last one was that the town board opposed the closing of the Social Security office in the town, which we have no control over. But it was a move to say that we don't want that office to close. That was picked up by several communities surrounding us that also passed resolutions and sent them on to the various representatives. Where that goes, I don't know. But the town passing this legislation and starting to create the local law, other communities that have created the local law and passed some other resolutions only goes to reinforce the fact that there are questions that are not being answered. And if we refuse to answer the questions, if we refuse to divulge what is in the toxins or what level of toxins or exactly which ones they're using in this proprietary mix, then they have an obligation that they shouldn't be allowed to do anything until they're upfront and honest.
Stephen has to